little bit of an experiment here this morning, trying to make all of this work. So bear with us for a minute. It's a work in progress.
Since 2019, Sci-Fi for Me has been bringing you news and opinion from all over the web. Science fiction, fantasy, and horror have been on our radar from the beginning. News, rumors, we bring you the latest with our team coverage. Streaming original content every week. Good Morning Multiverse, live on Sci-Fi for Me TV, delivering the multiverse since 2009.
No, the Rancor! Rancor!
There we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, jumping into the Rancor pit. Welcome, everyone. Yes, Dave, cry havoc and let loose the gun dogs of Tatooine. Hello, Robert. Good to see you in the chat as well. And we are broadcasting live to Facebook, Odyssey, and YouTube. And hopefully everything is going to work. My name is Jason Hunt. I'm the editor here at Sci-Fi for Me. And a quick programming note. What was my programming note going to be? There was something I was going to say. I don't even remember
Were
what it
you
was. Never
going to
mind.
tell them about the fact that you're only doing the bunker 3 days a week?
No, well, I mean, we could say that.
He's doing
live,
the bunker 3 days
Live
a
from
week.
the bunker is now doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule through August to see what that does. So, anyway. And Robert, they're not deliberately pride colors. It was just how we separate them to different shots in that opening. So, kind of limited in what you can do when you change a color. It's to change a color. So anyway, hello everybody. Welcome tonight. We are talking about
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Well, do we want to talk about the since Robert brought it up a little bit? Do we want to talk a little bit more about Obi-Wan?
Is there something to
Sure.
say?
Well, kinda. I mean, there's this opinion piece from The Gamer. Because last week, we talked about that new book, Padawan.
Where
That
he
there's got this one little passage. Oh, I remember what it was, but we'll get to it in a minute. This passage that kind of sort of hinted, maybe not really, maybe-ish, that Obi-Wan could have some bisexual tendencies. And, of course, everybody leaps onto this and grabs it and says, ah. And for one side, this is a disaster. It's another character that's been co-opted and is ruined, and it's Disney being Disney, and everything's gone to hell in a handbasket. And then on the other side of it, you have people that are completely celebrating and embracing all of this, even though they don't buy anything, they don't care about it, except for the virtue signaling and the white knighting and the keyboarding and all of that. So you got this article in The Gamer. Obi-Wan Season 2 needs to explore his sexuality.
why? Who cares?
No, it doesn't.
That's
No,
exactly
it
what
doesn't.
I'm saying, yeah.
I mean, if you want that, aren't there porns that are Star Wars related? Sorry, did I say
We're in the first half hour. You got to be very careful. Very careful. No. Okay.
I apologize.
Here's the thing, okay? Because and this has come up in other streams, other places where I've been a guest. If you have certain things get mentioned in the early parts of a show, the YouTube algorithm will censor your show. And there are potential hazards with regard to monetization along those
Can we
lines
name him
as well.
Obi-John?
So we have to be very, very careful when we talk about this stuff, because especially given the fact that we've now got the news articles out there about Visa and MindGeek and that kind of stuff we don't really want to talk about here.
So the Gungan seahorse.
The Gungan seahorse theory is a little bit different
safe.
because you don't actually mention any unmentionables, and so anyway, so this article.
Would you like to see my lightsaber?
Really? YouTube will shut us down if we get
You
stupid.
think they won't?
Okay. I'm just giving everybody a warning. So, from the article, the Jedi rule on attachments reminds me a lot of my childhood. I was dragged to Sunday school as I bounced between Catholic and Methodist churches. This religious upbringing would go on to wrap my thoughts on sexuality. I developed a deep-rooted feeling of shame fostered by the heteronormative nature of Christianity and the more explicitly bigoted messages throughout the culture claiming that homosexuality is wrong. Which, as a person of faith, I can tell you that is not the lifestyle choice that you want to engage in if you want a happy afterlife. That's all I'm going to say. All right. But this goes on. I'm not going to go through all of his personal cry-bullying or anything like this. The novel, I'm talking about Padawan. The novel follows a younger Obi-Wan. There's a moment, and it's a moment. I'm not hearing that it's the entire book. It's this one scene that everybody's latched onto. A moment when a male teen flirts with him. He dismisses it. Jedi doctrine forbids attachments, so it's futile. But it stirs something in him. He begins to ask himself if he would kiss any of the other teens, or even all of them, if given the chance. The way he thinks about men is indistinguishable from the way he thinks about women, but in the end he decides he doesn't want to kiss anyone. Until he meets Satine. Duchess Satine is still a thing. I will remind people of Duchess Satine. If you don't know who Duchess Satine is, watch Clone Wars. Wait for Duchess Satine to show up.
They
all I'm
are
saying.
cute. They are so cute, and they're little flirts.
Yeah.
So this goes on, and it's another screed against any amount of faith in someone's life. It is an anti-Christianity dogma writing here. The whole parallel between the stigma of LGBTQ and the stigma of being a Jedi and not being able to have any relationships or attachments or any of this stuff. And attachments are labeled as wrong, corrupt, and can destroy your faith in the light, which all sounds suspiciously similar to the idea that homosexuality is a sin that pushes you further away from God, which is what God writes in the scriptures.
I'm not saying it's you. Aren't there men that say that about their wives? I'm just saying it can go both ways. There.
What?
The
What?
destroying of the whatever. I can't read it. It's too small. But you know what I mean.
No, no, the relationship between men and women is a different thing. There's some scripture about not being yoked to an unbeliever, and that can cause a downfall. But this is a little bit different, because he's basically trying to twist this parallel into being. And okay. Star Wars tries to show how Jedi are just cogs in a machine who serve a greater purpose to the point that their thoughts, feelings, and identity mean nothing. That's how I felt at church. I wasn't an individual because I wasn't allowed to express myself, had to dress a certain way, behave a certain way, follow a certain path laid out before me. Because apparently this guy is not heterosexual. Okay, so he doesn't feel normal. Okay, but now he's trying to make this argument that season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is years after this moment in Padawan, remember?
Yeah.
Years after he fell in love with Duchess Satine and was ready to leave the Jedi Order for her on her say-so. If you'd said the word, I would have left the Jedi Order for you.
That'd be a cool what if story.
years after all of that, this guy wants Obi-Wan Season 2 to explore Obi-Wan's sexuality.
Sure, we can have a season 2 that has him daydreaming about when he met Satine.
Well, see, and this goes back to what others have complained about is this idea, this woke culture self-insert crap. I want to see me in these characters. I want to see me in Superman, which is why we got Jonathan Kent as bisexual. I want to see me, which is why we got Robin as bisexual, Tim Drake. But it's code because all of the characters that they've turned bisexual in the comics and the movies and the video games and whatnot are not interested in the opposite sex anymore. So they're not really bi. They're homosexual. And that's how we're going to rewrite all of this stuff. And what I had forgotten before and remembered now is there was a comment on last week's show making the observation that I had gone full fandom menace. I want to clarify something here. The brand, the Sci-Fi For Me brand on social media doesn't post near as much as I would like to post myself. I have been sympathetic to the Fandom Menace before the Fandom Menace was ever a thing. I hate The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi makes me feel rage. But I don't put a whole lot of that into everything because there's an overall broader aspect to our channel, to our broadcasts and stuff. It's not all about what I think, it's what everybody thinks. And some people might agree with me, some people might not agree with me. But if I sit there and come out and say, yes, I'm Fandom Menace, the brand can't be. So I haven't, my opinions and my thoughts and feelings about all of this stuff haven't changed. They haven't evolved. If anything, they've gotten worse. I get more angry about this crap because it's a constant. It's a constant drumbeat. I've got to see myself in these characters. When we've gone for 40 years with all sorts of people being fans of Star Wars and pretending to be Luke Skywalker and pretending to be Lando Calrissian, pretending to be Princess Leia, and skin color and sexual orientation and gender and height and weight and hair color and whatever else has never mattered before until 2015. And I am sick and tired of it. Because it doesn't matter. I don't need to identify with Kamala Khan to enjoy the story. I don't have to see myself in all of these different things in order to enjoy the story. If the story is done right, it'll entertain whether you identify with the person's skin color, sexuality, height, weight, whatever, or not.
They're passing along the story, and that's what you need to identify with, not the person, the messenger.
Yeah, I mean, the hero's journey is the
makes
hero's
sense.
journey. And you know, Luke Skywalker is on the hero's journey, and he's not the first one. King Arthur is the hero's journey. You know, there are King David out of the Bible. You want to talk about scripture? King David is a hero's journey.
If I call you a Byronic hero, I'm making fun of you. I'm not calling you a white Lord Byron standing on a mountain and reciting stuff. I'm saying you suck, you suck, but you won't do anything to not suck.
Well, and you got so many people that are complaining about all this stuff. They don't care. They're doing it. They're doing it for social media clout more than anything else. We want to change it because it gives us power. We want to change it because it gives us some semblance and some measure of authority over you.
They want to make lip syncing popular and correct to do. Sorry,
What?
previous conversation.
It doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about.
No, they're taking something that shouldn't and trying to make something out of it that shouldn't.
Well, it's badly rendered fan fiction, and it is annoying as all get out that we have to continuously deal with this kind of stuff, because it's not going to stop until we stop buying it. You know, they're talking about you talking about the stuff going on with Star Trek. You know, with Kurtzman Trek and all of that, and everybody is saying, you know, Robert Meyer Burnett is saying, you know, Picard season 3 looks really, really good, and it feels like Star Trek. Everything's going great. Everybody's saying all these positive things about it. Hey, Matt Twain, good to see
Matt
you.
Twain.
And on the one hand, I'm encouraged by that. On the other hand, I can agree with Doomcock, and I can see his point of view, because if we continue to put money and attention and time into these products, they'll keep making these products.
Well, and they sit there and they say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, then we're all fools.
Well,
You know,
and the
it's
thing
just-
is, and we've had our, you know, like, oh, and you really want to believe that, okay, Picard season 3 is going to be but at the same time, it's like,
well,
I really don't want to. I don't want to put the effort into trying to see if it really is.
What bothers me is the fact that Robert has been a very, very vocal critic of Kurtzman Trek, and for him to come in and say they're doing everything right on this one, he's not somebody that can be bought and paid for, and he's just going to say what Paramount wants him to say, because they don't like him. CBS does not like him. You know, Secret Hideout does not like him because of the things that he said. And he's been saying the same kind of thing that Doomcock has been saying. But Doomcock's taking it a step further, you know, that whole without respect we reject, and saying all of this stuff has to go away. We have to completely take our attention away from it. Lord of the Rings the same way, this new Rings of Power thing. You know, we've got a story in the stack for Saturday that there's this petition out because Random House, or whoever is the publishers now, Penguin, has come out with new editions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You know, the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, and Return of the King, using artwork from the new Amazon series. And there's this petition basically saying, we don't want that. And I'm thinking, you know, the petition's not going to do crap. If you want them to stop making the thing, you have to stop buying the thing. You have to completely walk away from it.
That's the thing, though. Lord of the Rings, I don't think anyone is like going away from
and there's
that.
but see, there's a difference. There's a difference between walking away from Lord of the Rings and not watching the Rings of Power, which is, by all accounts, bad fan fiction. It's got over half a dozen to a dozen characters that are brand new to the show that have absolutely no space in Tolkien's work at all.
And it's like, you know what this conversation has made me realize too, is that why can't Hollywood, I'm pretty sure I brought this up before when we were talking about Obi-Wan and stuff. Why can't Hollywood just make new things? Like, I guarantee people wouldn't have this problem with like Obi-Wan's sexuality if it was like a new character. I don't know, like, I know Star Wars makes Disney like a ton of money, but it's just like, man,
but that's the
come
thing,
on,
is
there's
that nobody is willing, except the indie guys, to go out on a limb and do something new, something that hasn't been done before, or taking something that maybe has been done before and tweaking it to do something new. I mean, you know, and turning it into something new. You get these big corporations, and as Jason has put it, you get these guys who can't let go of the past, and you end up having the nostalgia factor.
Well,
and they have to just continue ruining and trying to get the joy.
You end up
the
with
dead
remake.
cow.
You end up with remake after reboot, and suddenly DC Comics has got 12,000 different comics that have Batman in it. And in the meantime, Eric July is making $3.3 million on an original comic book. I mean, this is not a fluke. But the other part of that too is you look at the performance of Obi-Wan, and we knew the first three episodes did okay. They did pretty well, especially stacked up with Stranger Things season 4, and it was it was not as good. But the later numbers, Nielsen has finally come out on this stuff, and this is Bounding into Comics, which has got this. But I want to see here. Nielsen reported the show's first 3 episodes ranked in 958 million minutes viewed. Okay, that's fine. However, Nielsen recently released their data for the weeks ending July 3rd and June 26th. The 6th and final episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi released on June 22nd. So here are the numbers at the end of the show. For the week of June 26th, Nielsen reported that Obi-Wan Kenobi only brought in 860 million minutes viewed. That was good enough for third on the top 10 charts behind the Umbrella Academy and Stranger Things. If you factor in films, the movie placed 6th on the top 20 charts behind Doctor Strange and Sing 2. For the week ending July 3rd, Obi-Wan Kenobi did not even chart on Nielsen's top 10 list for streaming series. So it lost a lot of audience.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say 958 to 860 doesn't seem like that huge of a drop, but 860 to 330 does.
Netflix's Ozark. Well, see, the 330, that's not even for Obi-Wan. That's for Ozark, which was 10th. Ozark was 10th with 330 million minutes viewed. Obi-Wan Kenobi was less than that for the finale.
Wow.
Which means it dropped from 958 to less than 330 in 6 weeks.
And that it comes down to, like, you only watched it to a certain point and you said, forget this.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is and like I with the guy who did the fan film from, tweaked it down to a 2.5 hour movie, the end makes sense. It speeds up, you get excited, you get into it. So the later half, those last couple episodes, are decent enough.
Yeah.
But the problem is that they screwed up so royally at the beginning that it is a snooze fest.
Yeah. Robert says, I've never seen Bad Batch or Obi-Wan. I checked back in briefly after Gina, but the diverse Rainbow Vespa street gang poisoned me on the Savior Filoni myth. There is a story. Now let me address this, because this is part and parcel to the other things that we've been hearing. When I talked to Valiant Renegade, I've watched some of his videos. I watched some stuff from Clownfish. Valiant Renegade's got WDW Pro on his channel talking about some stuff. The Vespas apparently were Jon Favreau's breaking point on the Book of Boba Fett. According to reports, and I'm bags of salt at the ready for all of this stuff, because who knows who's telling the truth. But according to what WDW Pro had talked about, what he's been told is that the Vespas, the color bikes that were in Book of Boba Fett, were not supposed to be in the show. Apparently, that design, Favreau nixed it. Robert Rodriguez had designed all of this stuff, and Favreau said no on the Vespas, and somebody higher up said, okay, Kay, and the Vespas made it in. And at that point, when Favreau finally saw them, they were too far into the money spent and the props built to get rid of them. And that's apparently when Favreau threw his hands up and said, okay, I'm going to go work on Ahsoka. Y'all just do this thing. I don't care anymore. I'm done. And the divide now between Favreau and Kennedy is such that they won't even be on the same Zoom call together. They actively hate each other at this point. It's not just professional animosity. It's not just lack of respect. They actively hate each other to the point they won't even be on a Zoom call at the same time. And you can see the Annie Leibovitz photo shoot that they did, where they're standing next to each other. Mm-hmm. She's looking off camera, and he's not looking happy at all. They can stand next to each other, but they won't even be on the same Zoom call. That's how bad it's gotten there. And there's a report that James Gunn is talking to Favreau and sitting there saying, "Hey, dump this. You don't need this. Come over here to DC and let's do some stuff over here. Come back to Marvel and let's do some more stuff over here. Do whatever." They're trying to get Favreau to jump ship and bail on Lucasfilm altogether, which is going to leave Dave Filoni holding his hat and trying to get it all to work all by himself, and he's not ready for that.
And I just wanted to say too, I didn't know what you were talking about at first with the Vespas, so I looked up a picture. Wow! Oh my God!
Oh,
That might
it's
be
awful.
the tackiest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen some stuff. Holy cow!
Hello, Jay
That
Lee.
might-
It's a new name I haven't seen in the chat before. Welcome. Good to have you there.
And it's just like, oh my God, they look like giant toys.
Mhm,
It is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, but then you got to stop, drop, spin, and shoot.
Well, yeah, there was that. But I think, see, the thing about it is the Vespas would work in something like Blade Runner, maybe. Because it fits into
Yeah.
that neon and fog and because everything's going to be underlit. It's all going to be dark, so you're going to get more muted tones, even if you've got these bright colors on these bikes. Out in the desert of Tatooine, they're not going to be that bright and shiny. I'm sorry, they're not.
Yeah.
Especially when they're charging how much for water?
Right?
And it just looks like totally out of place too when you stop and consider like everything else. Like if you look at say like Luke's land speeder from the first movie, how like gross and dirty it looks, but then you look at the pictures of that.
Yep.
And like the ones I'm looking at, like they're bright and shiny and like you can tell
The fact that they call.
they're
Go ahead.
yeah. You
The-
can just tell like it does not fit in this universe at all. It's
No.
The
so
Millennium
weird.
Falcons, that hunk of junk.
Yeah.
And then,
Like-
yeah.
Like maybe on another world, like maybe in like Naboo circa episode 2 or something it might work, but not on Tatooine post Return of the Jedi. Are you crazy?
Well, and
it
someone
doesn't-
didn't
it doesn't
someone
go
call
with
them
that
the
whole
Power
lived-in thing.
Rangers?
Yeah, the Power
The Power-
Rangers bike.
Oh,
And-
see now I would love if Power Rangers did that.
See, and Dave even
But
says,
there you-
even the Fremen of Dune are laughing at those Vespas. Which, yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. All right, so here's the other thing. We've got the
Could you
the new
imagine
trailer.
the sandworms? I'm sorry, I'm having to go off this only because I'm in the middle of reading Emperor
God, Emperor of Dune.
But I'm just sitting there. Could you imagine if you're sitting there and watching Dune and you get this sandworm coming up that's all like chromed out in a color of.
Well, no, it wouldn't be chromed out. It'd be body paint.
No, I'm sure they'd find a way to do it. I'm sure they'd find a way to screw it up, But could you just imagine the different color worms coming?
Yeah.
And then in the third book, Children of Dune, when you get all the sand trouts on him, what do? Is it like taking a hot plate with crayons and sticking it on there and all the colors melting together around Leto? I mean,
Dave says, Duncan, Idaho is shaking his head. Robert says, worm glitter. Well,
yes!
it's even better than that. You could have some pretty worm castings, for gardening. All right. Speaking of worm castings, let's take a look at the new Andor trailer. I'm going to hit and miss. We're going to EFAP this every frame a pause, so we don't get Jaylee is saying, take a breath, Minnie. I'm gonna pause this every now and again so we don't get any kind of a ding here. We probably will anyway. But this is the trailer for Andor. People have probably seen this already.
I may have watched it a couple times at work.
I don't hear it. Do you hear it?
Are we supposed to hear it?
Well, it's not muted.
I don't hear it.
Why isn't that?
I mean, maybe if there's no audio, you could get away with it. I don't know.
Well, that's weird. Hold on.
That's true. If there's no audio, we could watch the entire thing. Or
Yeah.
better
No.
yet, since we're farther into that half hour, you know,
Huh.
we could sit there and Mark, you take one voice, I'll take another voice, and we can lip it.
No, 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 no. That's
Don't
very
give me any
strange. Why is
ideas,
that? That's not. It's not. It's not giving me audio. That's weird.
Is it the audio trying to go to another source on your tabs? Randomly?
Nope. Hold on. Let's try.
Where's the
Yeah.
technical difficulty sign when you need it?
Hold on. Oh, I think. Wait a minute.
So back in the day when I went and saw Hot Fuzz in the theater, we lost sound.
I know what it was.
And at
I know
that
what it was.
point, because they were in the big fight scene in the courtyard and everything like that when it happens, so we had no
Oh,
sound.
no.
So all of a sudden, we're all sitting looking, and someone's like,
I got it
bang,
now.
bang,
All right.
bang. And so the entire audience started doing all the sound effects for it.
Okay,
That's
so here we
funny.
go. We got it here. So I'm going to come back to this one. I'm going to come back to this shot because reasons. I'm definitely going to come back to this shot. All right, so
Okay.
so here we go. So there's a bike. There's a speeder bike-ish of sorts, kind of, sort of. We have a Star Destroyer. Now,
Speeder bike or
is
a
it
Vespa?
is it me? Okay, if you've got something that big flying that low in the
Shadow?
atmosphere, it's going to be really loud.
Isn't there supposed to be a bigger shadow?
When I was shooting my movie, we were downtown, and the Thunderbirds were in town for a big air show. And when we were downtown, we were shooting our movie with sound, and suddenly, as we're recording dialogue, there was this, and everybody's like, "What the heck was that?" And we go out, and there's these little fighter planes skirting around. It was like, okay, those are really loud.
I have to say, though, I do thoroughly. This is the part that I miss with working at home because I am on the 14th floor of my building. And the great thing is that when those suckers fly past, because they go, they do their thing, they come around, and they come around on my side of the building.
Yeah.
Oh, it is so awesome.
But this thing, we should have a rumble.
And a shadow.
This should be, well, not necessarily, it depends on where the sun is, but we should hear this thing. The ground should be shaking. It's that close.
I feel like it should be blowing things away, yeah.
Strip mining.
To steal from the Empire? You just walk in like you belong. They're so proud of
We're gonna see the Senate again.
themselves. So fat and satisfied. They can't imagine that someone like me would ever get inside their house.
All right, so he's grown up as a thief.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now that's a selling point. Okay. Creators of Rogue One. Rogue One did fairly well. Has generally positive reception from the audience and from
Cassian
fans.
Andor.
I
The
like
Empire is choking us so slowly.
I'm seeing
Were those clone troopers?
those are
or
clone
reg-
troopers.
Oh, yeah, no, those are actual clone troopers. Okay.
Slowly.
But those are stormtroopers in the back.
Right.
So could be we're in the midst of
starting not to know.
changing things over.
Notice.
That
Now-
is one part where it's like, we haven't seen that, so that...
Starting not to notice.
Well, we saw some clone troopers in Obi-Wan.
Oh, right.
This is
What I'm
interesting
asking is this.
type of ship.
Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real?
He does. He does.
Hey,
Yeah.
and hey, that's a
Mazurus.
compliment because back in the
Mazurus.
day, Paul McCartney was a good-looking man. So
Okay,
I
now-
take that as a compliment.
I would like to point out that after seeing the first episode of Light and Magic, I think this ship has been recycled from some of the early designs for the Millennium Falcon. Now, if you remember your lore,
Okay, I see
the
it.
Millennium Falcon, the blockade runner, Princess Leia's ship, was originally the Millennium Falcon. And
Really?
for various
Yeah.
for different reasons, whatnot, they said, okay, we need a different ship for the Millennium Falcon. It needs to look more hot rod type, for Han Solo. And so they ended up designing the Millennium Falcon. One of the designs had the cockpit in the middle between the two cargo prongs. And
Okay.
it looks like, just from here, it looks like, if you
It's
look right there,
trying to a little
right
bit.
there, the cockpit is
Yeah.
right there in the middle. And yeah, the Mazurus and Match, we both sitting there saying this is Corellian. But because you can see you can see the design
Yeah.
there, you can see all of this. It's
Yeah.
definitely a Corellian design. But having that cockpit in the middle, this is a recycled Millennium Falcon design.
Like, I can definitely see the Millennium Falcon in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. It's like if you look at the cockpit, it looks exactly like the cockpit.
He does that as
All
good
the
as a
heroes I
Jedi.
can get.
And
you think anyone will
apparently,
recognize him then?
apparently now this, I don't recognize this place, but somebody does. I saw a mention online. This particular location apparently has been used for a fan film for a Star Wars fan film, and somebody said, "Hey, I see they're using yada yada yada. We did too." And I didn't see the fan film title.
I don't
but,
watch enough fan films to be able to.
But they were talking about this being a fan film location, which I thought was interesting. I mean, look, production design is production design. A location is a location, and it's going to look good. However,
well, and if you've got people,
depending on how you shoot it.
well, and if you have people who are sitting and watching that, I mean, it's free scouting.
Yeah.
For the greater
I
good.
just
So we have.
Call it what
Well,
you
there
will.
is that.
Do you not
It's
like
cool.
sand?
Yeah.
We have
I
Saul
just like,
Guerrero.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I am happy to see him.
Good to see you, Stephanie. Yeah, there's Saul Guerrero.
War.
Okay,
He has
so
a cool name too.
so the police with the riot gear are the Empire. That's not subtle,
Not at all.
especially given what's been happening up in where is it? Where the farmers,
The Netherlands?
the Netherlands. There are
But even your
clone ships, clone
even
drop
in
ships.
Australia, you were seeing that.
Yeah, we're gonna see clone drop ships in live action, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been like what, 15, almost 20 years now since we last saw them, so that's cool.
Stephanie says that Stellan Skarsgård is playing Bill Ebley. Bill Ebley is a Battlestar Galactica character.
Or is that just something
Or
totally
Count Ebley.
unrelated?
Count Ebley is a Battlestar Galactica. There they go here.
Fermenting out.
Okay.
Pretty boy.
Yeah.
Sam Witwer look-alike.
Okay, I look at this and I'm waiting for him to smile with little fangs and sparkle like
He-
Twilight.
He looks.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Oh, Mazer says it's possibly Han Solo, a smuggler's trade. I've actually seen that, but it's been a while. I'll have to look at that again. You could be right on that. That sounds right. But this guy looks like a cross between Sam Witwer and Rob Lowe.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see it.
I can see
And-
that, yeah.
And sparklies.
And let's remind people of a certain book based on a video game that starred Sam Witwer,
Force Unleashed,
Force Unleashed.
right? Yeah. That was him, right? Yeah,
Doesn't this
okay.
guy look so much like Sam Witwer from The Force Unleashed?
You mean having people,
Like,
characters that aren't played by their characters?
Well, Witwer's older now, but
Okay, but you saw how wonderful they've de-aged everybody. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Don't go there.
now
Not
I'm,
going
I'm
there.
not saying that this is that character,
But he definitely has. I see the raw blow.
but he looks like it.
And now,
well, now
like,
you've
I
got me
like
intrigued
it.
at
Now
this
you
show.
can't unsee
Yeah.
it.
Pockets
I
of
didn't care about
momentum. You're in my net.
I don't know who
Are you a fish? Or are you a thief? You're slipping.
Like, anytime I see Stellan Skarsgård, though, I'm half expecting him to run around butt naked somewhere. I'm too much of a Marvel fan.
No,
now.
he's gonna
Like, I
be.
can't,
He's gonna
I
be
can't
singing
unsee that
ABBA
from my
songs. ABBA songs.
Well, and you
With
look here.
Pierce Brosnan.
You look here. He's
Making your
clearly
ears bleed.
he's clearly a double agent of some sort, because here he is meeting with Mon Mothma, and
I'm not
his look
slipping.
is completely different than what we saw him before. He's got the long hair. He's got the robes. He's got the smile. This is a politician or a gangster. He's either organized crime or he's a politician.
he needs
I mean,
a
there's not
hat.
much
He
difference
could be a
between the two.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He needs a hat and something. He could be a Q in purple.
I'm not slipping.
He's a player of some sort.
I've just been hiding for too long.
Now, when he says that, I've just been hiding for too long, this could be, where is it? That could be a flashback. So maybe we're looking at two different time periods because look at his hair.
True.
Because he looks different. Yeah. Yeah.
Hiding for too long.
All right, we got guns, we got shuttles, we got
As long
Coruscant.
as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing.
What are you really doing?
I have no idea who that is.
But he's got way too much makeup on. He's like, what's the name of that fashion designer who was shot? Anyway, he's orange.
He looks like, he kind of reminds me of Terrence Stamp.
And it also kind
Don't
of looks
insult
like
him.
somebody like CGI moved his mouth, and now his mouth is like at a weird
Yeah, it's in a weird place.
angle compared
But
to the rest of the face.
He kind of looks like, now I know, because Terrence Stamp played Chancellor Valorum. Older, but this guy reminds me just in a quick bit as Terrence Stamp. Zod.
Oh, okay. See, I
Terrence
know
Stamp.
who Terrence Stamp is. Don't get me wrong. But you said Chancellor Valorum, and I'm just like, wait. hold
He
on.
was the Chancellor of the Republic before the Republic fell.
In episode 1, in the best part of that whole movie. Come on.
wait, you
Vote
pay
of no
attention.
confidence. Vote of no confidence on Chancellor Valorum, and
That's right.
yeah, all right.
It's the part of episode 1 that skipped.
Now I gotta say,
You mean the entire movie, right?
the production design on this stuff looks pretty cool. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless
Uh,
you.
Thank you.
Matt Tweed says all white people don't look alike. No, they don't.
No, they're orange too.
But I wonder if they might be pulling some of that casting for getting people who look like other people for reasons.
I want to be able to identify.
Here's the
I
new
wanna be
toy.
orange, too.
The new toy. We're just in time for Christmas.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a new droid.
It's his droid. It's been with the
This is what
family.
Well,
It
there's a what was it, Black Series? He's got
he's
it.
in the.
He's got it with him as
the
a Black Series.
So
figure.
this is a droid that's been with his family for like ever.
It kind of looks like a bootleg Kamen Rider belt, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is what's her name? Fiona Shaw, I think, right?
Aunt Petunia, or
Who
the
says who
lady from
who
Three Man and a
recently
Little
said
Lady.
who recently said in a interview that this show is all about Trumpism. Now, I have spoken on this before with regard to Picard season
Yes,
1
Mazers.
when Sir Patrick Stewart came out and said, "Oh, it's all about Trump and Brexit," and I said, "You idiot! Don't do that. You don't say those things in your marketing if you want people to tune in, because whatever you say in any kind of political bent, whether it's red or blue, doesn't matter, you will alienate half of your potential market.
It's like when they came out with Reva, and before the show started, we're
Nobody's
gonna
like it. They're gonna erase it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I am so glad I'm not like an actor, so I don't have to worry about stuff like that. Because holy cow, that would drive me insane.
Yeah.
You're like, so what side am I sitting on today? What side am I sitting on today?
This is what revolution.
I have no idea who this person is, but she's kind of a copycat of Jyn Erso. Are we going to set this up to where he gets involved in the rebellion for Jyn Erso because Jyn Erso reminds him of her?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay,
I
she's another one that
Lucian
gets
looks
in,
like-
in the Marvel series.
I'm tired of Lucy.
Right, yeah.
Somebody pointed out, rather snarkily, this very high walkway has rails. That's not what you're supposed to have in Star Wars. That's not Star Wars.
I know. How many times did we sit there and we see Anakin and Ahsoka super high up, be like, okay, just
Yep.
jump. I got you.
Now, I have no idea what this is. This looks like a prison breakout.
I've never even thought of that before, but that's pretty funny.
That looks like a prison breakout of some
Yeah,
sort.
that looks like something.
And it's just struck me.
That's not Camino, is it?
Well, see, and the
know,
funny
but-
thing
No, I
is
don't
you,
think
that
so.
you say that, and I know it's not Camino, but it does have
Yeah.
that. Like, I could totally
It
see
looks,
that being there.
It looks exactly like those tunnel things that
Yes.
they have.
You know
in
what
that,
it looks
yeah.
like to me. Now let me turn this off here for a second. Let me do a search because I have a thought, because there is an old TV commercial. I want to find it first before we do this. Let me open it up here, and I'm going to turn the sound off, and I'm going to blow this up here. And this is from 1983, 1984. It is the
Okay.
Apple Computers commercial for Macintosh. Now you see that right there?
Yeah.
You see the
Yeah.
prisoners in the tunnel?
Oh, yeah. I know this. Okay.
But that
Well,
opening
we're-
shot right there looks a whole lot
Oh.
like this,
Yeah.
doesn't it? That's why I'm thinking this is a prison shot. This is
Yeah.
a prison break, because everybody's dressed the same, and he's dressed the same, and he's causing the explosion. And you got guards falling all over themselves. Forearms.
And then you've got what's his? Well, and he when I saw that at first, I was thinking of
Mascanata.
Thank you.
Yeah. But he looks. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Hold on! Is that Cameron Monaghan on the table? Is that Jedi Fallen Order Cameron Monaghan on the table? Redhead.
Wait, redheads exist?
Yeah, right.
Just
Right?
Just making sure.
It's like seeing a unicorn.
Is that Cameron Monaghan? I don't. It does. On the surface, just at first glance, it doesn't look like it's him. But it might be a younger kid playing a younger Cal Kestis, and we'll see older Cameron Monaghan later. Because there are rumors and people are talking, are we ever going to see a live action Cal Kestis? And he's like, oh, I have to be super coy and not really answer that. Bah ha 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 ha.
Wink, wink. Nudge.
See,
Now we have stormtroopers.
though. I'm just thinking though, when did Fallen Order take place again? Because that was well into the Empire, right?
Fallen Order is about the same time period as Bad Batch, I believe, or Mandalorian. It's somewhere in there because it does take place after Order 66. I mean,
Yeah,
it takes
after the fall. No, wait.
It sits there and says,
It's
shut shortly after
all-
the Revenge of the Sith, the player
Yeah.
takes on the role of the Jedi Padawan being hunted by the Empire after Order 66.
Okay, so it's before
Okay.
it's before Star Wars.
Right.
So it's about the
okay.
same time Rebels, I guess.
Oh, okay. So I feel like it would have to be like the same. If that is Cal, it would have to be like the same.
But they're
Like,
they're
I don't
teasing. They're teasing. He's hinting. He might show up at some point because they were talking about him showing up in Obi-Wan, which is later than Andor.
Mm.
So you could have
Right.
the character in both shows. Younger actor in Andor, Monahan in Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan takes
right.
place 10 years after Order 66.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And do you recognize the staff?
Kind of looks like she has a soul patch too. Is that just me? Does anyone else
It's
see that?
I think it's war paint. or mud.
Oh, okay. That makes
But
more sense. All right.
She's
Jaffa. Oh, wait. Wrong series.
no, it's not a it's not a staff weapon. It's a Rey staff. This is the same kind of staff that Rey has in Force Awakens. Ish.
Okay,
I mean,
I'll
you
agree
don't-
with you a
You
little
don't
bit
get a
on
whole
Stephanie.
you don't get a whole big glimpse of it, but it kind of looks that way.
Other people could have the same. That it's not like a lightsaber, right? Where it's like it could be mass produced. So.
Well, sure, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's unique, but I'm saying it's a callback. It's a visual callback.
Right.
It's
right.
a remember
okay.
this. It's hey, look at this.
Yeah. Star Wars loves doing that. We've established that.
Yeah. Now,
New date and 3 episodes.
here's the big. Oh, that's a new date.
Yeah, it's now, because it was supposed to come out this month, it's now getting pushed out to next month. And instead of 2 episodes, they're doing
mean 3.
3 episodes.
I talked briefly to Valiant Renegade about this, because he's been keeping an eye on the business side of things. He and WDW Pro have been looking at this from the business angle, the numbers and the money and all of this. We've got an earnings call next week for the Walt Disney Company.
Ooh.
And
That'll be fun.
Valiant's theory is that during that call, we'll get the official start date for the ad-supported tier for Disney Plus. Remember, Disney Plus is about to introduce a new level that's going to be cheaper, that's going to also have commercials.
So like some of the other ones are doing.
Right. So what his theory is that when they do their earnings call and they announce when that starts, he's thinking that September 21st is going to be the beginning of that tier
To get people
to
to
get
wanna
people to
coupon.
sign up and
Kind of
see
like what they
watch-
did with the
watch Andor.
Mandalorian and getting people onto
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
Because September 21st is a Wednesday.
That seems random, but okay.
Well, all of the movie stuff and TV shows, all
Our
the Star Wars
Wednesday
shows are
releases.
Wednesdays, Marvel and Star Wars both, except for Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was a Friday. So this is going on Wednesday, and he's thinking that this
Robert.
is an attempt to boost the Nielsen numbers because it's 3 episodes. And there's, I guess, not very much coming out on September 21st. So it should do gangbusters. And if they do the ad rating, the ad level, the ad-supported tier, then other people will sign up because it's cheap. It's cheaper than what it normally would be. So I can afford this level. I'll sign up so I can watch Andor because Rogue One was a good movie-ish.
And did they say
Star
how
Wars.
long the episodes are going to be?
I think they're going to vary. I want to say about
Yeah.
40 minutes-ish a piece.
Okay.
I don't know.
So it's like nothing new in terms
Yeah,
of that.
Matt
Okay.
Twain's got a good point too. With regard to the Wednesdays, there's no Wednesday night football.
That's true.
Thursday night football's on Amazon now, so
And then you've got football on the weekends for college.
so that Valiant could be right. That's what we're looking at here is a ratings push.
My question is this. I mean, it's nice that they get to drop 3
Good-
episodes at
yeah.
once or 2 episodes at once.
Good to see
or
you, Stephanie.
whatever.
Thanks for being here.
Bye, Stephanie. But, and I know that you have like Netflix that'll just drop the entire season on you and stuff. But the one thing that Disney was trying to go for was the 1 episode a week, wait for it a week, and all that. But they keep doing this multiple episode drop things, and does it cheapen it a little?
Just a tad.
They
I think.
yeah, because they wanted to go back to the old school style of watching TV, but
Well,
it's like, okay, you're doing 3 episodes, and I know that this is a longer series than like the 6 that we got from Obi-Wan, but that's like dropping. If it was Obi-Wan, that would have been dropping half the season in one day.
Well, streaming is an odd duck to begin with because of the fact that you've got it's not like a network where every show has a specific time. Monday at 6 p.m. in Eastern, that kind of thing. You can watch it any time. You have the day where it drops, but you don't have anything. You could watch it any time of day once it's out there and live. The purpose behind putting out more than 1 episode on a weekly release show is to boost the viewer numbers. Is to sit there and say, okay, well, we had, instead of 300 million watch minutes for the first episode, we had 900 million watch minutes the first week, because you got 3 episodes back to back.
It's a way of cheating.
It's
to get
cheating.
A participation award.
It's fudging the numbers. Just look how great. It's a hit. 900 million minutes in the first week.
So how are we redefining this again this week? I got to pull out my weekly dictionary. Where is it?
Yeah. we'll put our recession filter on it. But yeah, that's essentially what's happening here. And I think Valiant's right on that. I think this is a play for Nielsen numbers that they can. You're exactly right, Dave. They're cooking the books. They're doing something to manipulate the perception that it's doing better than it. D23 is
owing?
September
Oh,
Good
10th.
call, Matt Twain.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, look at how much they were pushing Disney Plus in the first place back in, what was it, when you guys were at Celebration?
Yeah, because they didn't do.
Because they had, like, you could sign up all of a sudden.
They didn't do. They didn't do any presentations in San Diego. We had action figure stuff. We had exclusives on merchandise, but we didn't get anything as far as the shows go.
Wait, San Diego is a thing?
That's a good point, Matt Twain. I hadn't even considered D23.
Well, okay, the thing is, if they're turning D23 into, wait, no, never mind. I'm thinking of something else. Ignore what I was saying.
Well, D23 is the big
The
Disney
one.
thing,
Well,
and
see, and I was thinking about how you were talking about Celebration slowly turning into something else.
Eventually, I think that Celebration and D23 are going to merge, because post-pandemic, conventions scene being what it is, however much it costs being what it is, D23, Disney's going to take a page out of the playbook for DC fandom. Add all of the Disney stuff, Marvel and Star Wars and Willow, if Willow becomes a thing. I don't think it will. Pixar, if Pixar survives the Lightyear debacle, all of that goes into one space. It goes into one presentation. And so D23 absorbs Star Wars Celebration because then it's easier to spread out other things and you get excitement about the Disney stuff. And Bob Chapek's all about cutting costs right now.
Everybody is.
And if we're going to spend money on a big convention, and we want somewhere between 80, 90,000, 100,000 people to show up, let's put all the Disney stuff out there to attract everybody in all the different segments of the audience. So the Pixar fans will come in, and the Star Wars fans will come in, and the Marvel fans will come in, and we're all in one place, kumbaya, at one time.
Now, I'm not saying anything against Disney, but I'm saying something against Disney, and I'm saying things against some of the other. I mean, yeah, you've got your people who like Star Wars, you got your people who like Marvel, you got your people who like Pixar and stuff. But at the same time, think of all the people who are love Star Wars, but hates that Disney has done what Disney has done with it and stuff. And now they're getting forced into all of it.
Which is why they fold Star Wars into everything else. Because if
they're
you want,
forcing it on
if
them.
you want to go see the Marvel panels, you go to D23. You don't have to go see the Star Wars stuff, but you're buying the ticket for the event. But see, the thing about it is on the back end, Disney is only paying for one event. It's one expense as opposed to two. And so they don't have as much cash that they got to lay out to do the same thing twice. They just expand it, maybe spend a little bit more because they got different presentations for different divisions of the company.
I guess
because they could also pitch the parks as well. And the parks are the big thing for Disney. The movie studio stuff is a drop in the bucket compared to the parks operations. And that's their bread and butter. That's what they have to sell. And that's not doing very great either, because you look at things like, Galactic Star Cruiser, you have rides that are shutting down, you've got delays, you've got mechanical problems on some of this stuff. They have other problems that they've got to deal with, not to mention the fact that the park over in China could be seized by the Chinese government at any point. So there are a lot of plates spinning right now, and Chapek's got a priority.
To be open because they're doing a lockdown every other hour.
Well, and that could be one of the reasons why there's not as much of a push to get Kennedy out, because this is a low priority problem for them. Because we were talking about last week, WDW Pro reporting that he was hearing that the pressure is coming from the inside to get rid of her. And force her to retire. I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen until Indiana Jones 5 comes out.
Drop the prices, and maybe we'd have somewhat of an interest in going.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert. One in Shanghai, one in Hong Kong. But let me go back. Speaking of the Chinese, let me go back to this one shot, because this shot here bugs me, and it bugs a lot of people. Because you have somebody here, he's holding a firearm. This has been called out on social media, but also now is making the news. Here's Fox Business. Disney slammed by Twitter after facing accusations of using an AK-47 in the trailer for the new Star Wars prequel. Now,
and that was the first thing I noticed too.
Yeah,
it's like I immediately noticed that gun doesn't look like a blaster rifle. What the heck?
Right.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because this last week we did talk on Salacious Crumbs about the fact that Han Solo's blaster was going up on the auction block.
Yeah.
And how they went about designing it.
Yeah.
Using a real one and then adding this and that.
Well,
and that.
it's a
and then you have
It's a German pistol. It's a Mauser. And all of the guns in Star Wars are real. Most of them are World War II vintage weapons that have been modified with all sorts of tchotchkes and kit bashing and whatnot and all that.
And plus, if they shoot it, they actually get a recoil.
Now, in this,
that's cool.
Fox is reporting Disney's getting backlash on Twitter for featuring what appears to be a high-powered assault rifle in its upcoming prequel. Now, the way they're pitching it here is people are reacting to the rifle being there. But in actuality, people are responding to the fact that it's a straight up AK-47 and nothing's been done to modify it except take the buttstock off the back of it.
Yeah.
And that's it. There is no modification whatsoever on this weapon.
This guy looks like, honestly, if you had not known that this was going to be for Star Wars or anything like that, he put a few more, tears in his clothes. He looks like something that might be in a foresty area for Walking Dead.
This is a Sylvester Stallone movie. Or a You're right, Walking Dead movie. This is an 80s action flick here.
It looks like something like it could pass for a shot from like a Vietnam War movie or something.
Yeah. Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris. This is
Exactly.
No, Chuck Norris is too good for this.
Okay. Have you seen all the Chuck Norris movies? Because there are some Chuck Norris movies that look exactly like this.
Yeah.
But it's Chuck Norris.
Or like Predator or something like that. Yeah.
Clint Eastwood films, maybe Charles Bronson doing some war stuff. This is Dirty Dozen type stuff. This is not a Star Wars. And you're right. The aesthetic on this is very much like Vietnam. You look at those huts.
Yeah.
But didn't even change it.
They ran out of money?
Maybe
It's
they
like
had to
the
get
end of
the
the
trailer
Deadpool
out.
movie. The budget. We ran out. So, no weapons.
Oh, I need to watch that movie again. It's so funny. Oh my god. Deadpool's great.
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds is great. On
Gina
behalf of all
Carano.
Canadians. On behalf of all Canadians, I'll say you're welcome for that one.
So, what's your excuse for Justin Bieber?
Oh, nah.
I can't say
mean,
anything though. I'm a 1D
I don't have
fan.
one.
So this character that we were talking about, the girl,
Which
is
one?
apparently named Clea, played by an unidentified actress. Now she's featured pretty prominently in the trailer for us not knowing who she is.
The funny thing is I'm looking at this top picture here to the left, where it's the side profile of her. She's got very much a young Carrie Fisher look. Look at the
Clea.
lips.
Yeah, I was gonna
Look
say.
at the
Except the nose.
Except the nose. But, you look at the way she's... you're waiting for her to sit there and say something about how, the galaxies are slowly slipping through her fingers.
Yeah.
But then you go to the next picture, and she does look like she could be part of the Twilight, ancient collection of vampires. More sparkles.
That jacket looks weird too, by the way. It doesn't look like she's wearing like a collar or anything. It looks like she just has her shirt like this.
Uh-huh.
Are you Cornholio?
Yeah, exactly. It looks exactly like that.
Well, we've got Denise Gough playing the Imperial security officer, and it's a nice jacket.
Mm.
It is styling.
It's
I like the
okay.
hat,
Well,
even though it's a totally different color.
And
but-
see, I see her, and I'm getting flashbacks to Brittany Murphy.
kinda. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, Christopher's got a good point. It's frustrating. You'd at least think they'd dress a hero prop like that if it's going to be in such a prominent shot. Agreed. There should be some kind of a scope or some kind of tubing or stuff, buttons,
Yeah,
switches,
something
random
that
knobs on
doesn't
the
make
side or
it look
something.
something that doesn't make it look like it's from Earth, basically.
Exactly
Yeah.
right, and that's the thing, and it just
And on that.
I'll give it. I may give it 1 or 2 episodes to see.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
you can
not
give it 3
feeling-
episodes when it airs on
Yeah.
September 21st.
Well, that's true, and I could maybe who
Sit
knows?
in one
I don't
sitting
know.
and get it done and over with, and
Get it
not
done
have
and
to
over
sit
with.
there and draw it out like everything else.
And it's like the Star Killer comparison intrigues me now, so it's like I'm gonna have to at least give it a chance.
Matt says, Devil's Advocate, Mando's rifle looks like a 19th century long rifle. Well, it kind of does, except it's very, it's modified.
Yeah.
Because it looks exactly like Boba Fett's rifle in his very first appearance in the animated segments on the holiday special.
Yeah, it has like that I don't know what you call that, like that dual prong pitchfork looking thing on the front. So
yeah, I
they
think,
at least tried with that.
Yeah, they did modify the front. I think they modified the back a little bit on it too. But every weapon has a base with something here real, and there was a reason for that. Is they were cheap. They were in the prop shops. They were cheap. We could doodle them up and put the tchotchkes on it, and then Robert says, look up Forgotten Weapons channel. He chose the original. Okay, I will make a note. We will take a look at that. So. It's just okay, three episodes. I'll give it 3 episodes and see what happens, and we'll go from there. So.
And that's how Disney keeps making money on Star Wars.
I don't know when the earnings call is. I want to say it's next Wednesday. We need to look that up, because if it's before our show next week, then
Intern, you have homework. Sit through it.
We have something to talk
lovely.
about.
Thanks.
If it's okay, well let's figure this out, because if the earnings call is on Wednesday, maybe we ought to have our show on Thursday and see if maybe we can get Valiant Renegade over here to talk to us, and we could cuss and discuss. I don't know.
Cuss and discuss. Nice.
We'll look it up and we'll see. So. I don't know.
Scheduled for the 10th.
For September 10th?
August
10th.
So August 10th is going to be next Wednesday.
Okay, so do we want to do this show on Thursday next week as a special?
Let me look on my calendar to see what we have scheduled there.
What we can do is we can look with all our calendars, and you guys can check on our social media. We'll make an announcement and let you know for sure what the schedule is going to be like for next week.
And watch us on Saturday morning for Good Morning Multiverse, where I do a segment on Salacious Crumbs, and I will definitely let you know.
Mazers has a question. Will Valiant discuss the Gungan Seahorses? I don't know. We should tell Valiant Renegade about the Gungan Seahorse theory.
Yes.
We'll see.
Again, every time we have a guest on the show, we need to bring it up.
We
once.
have to spread the word. We have to spread
exactly.
the word. All right, that's it for us tonight. Thanks very much for being here,
Twin.
everybody. And good to see all of you in the chat, especially those of you who are brand new. Hope you stick around.
We
We'll
aren't
do
that
this again next
painful.
week. But yes, connect with us on social media. Connect with us on Odyssey. And we'll be back next week. We'll post whether or not we're going Tuesday or Thursday next week. So keep an eye out. We'll be back. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Copyright 2022 by Flaming Dog Media, LLC. All rights reserved. No portion of this program may be retransmitted without the express written consent of Flaming Dog Media. You're watching Sci-Fi for Me TV, delivering the multiverse since 2009.